Lockdown public housing residents are filing a class action. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your cup of morning coffee and let's have a look at this article from news.com.au. We all remember when there were first lockdowns were happening in Victoria, and the public housing where people were locked down, where the police rocked up and kept everyone inside those towers. And yet we have more and more calls for public housing, everyone. This is another reason why you want to have your own home. And maybe, we shouldn't be pushing for social housing. We should look at getting more people in careers and jobs and getting the government out of the housing sector. But that's separate to this. Let's have a look at this. Public housing residents file class action claiming to have survived off nuts and beans. Public housing tower residents have filed a class action over the lockdown in Victoria, claiming they survived off nuts and beans. So, public housing tower residents shut inside their homes during Melbourne's lockdown are suing the Victorian Government, claiming they were left without food and medication. A claim was filed in the Victorian Supreme Court last week, alleging residents are owed damages for the invalid, oppressive and degrading lockdown that failed to consider human rights. And remember, there's a Bill of Human Rights in Victoria. We've gone through the document that the government had to prepare to ignore it. That's the advantage of the bill. It means you need to do a bunch of paperwork when you ignore it. Fantastic. It's really good. More than 3,000 people were locked inside 9 apartment towers from July 4th to either July 9th or July 18th last year, before the entire state went into hard lockdown on the 2nd of August. The claims alleged lead plaintiff, Idris Hassan, and his family were supplied with spoiled food after being banned from buying groceries. After being provided nothing for 3 days, they were given 4 partially defrosted sausage rolls placed at the doorstep that were not fit for human consumption, it alleges. Ms. Hassan and his 9-year-old son suffered asthma attacks after they run out of medication, with the family surviving on nuts and beans, it alleges. See this image here, this type of housing with the pebble finish to the precast concrete. As you see that everywhere in East Berlin. I remember when I was there. That's that brutalist Soviet style public housing. I think that's what the Greens want when they talk about social housing. They want that type of housing. Stack you all up one above the other. Miss Hassan and Miss Hassan or Mr. Hassan and his 9-year-old son suffered asthma attacks after they ran out of medication, yes. Victoria's Deputy Chief Health Officer, Anneliese van Diemen, is named as the first respondent in the suite, along with Deputy Public Health Commander Finn Romanes, Chief Commissioner of Police Shane Patton, and the State of Victoria. So they're taking their leaders to court, which is fantastic. This is good to see. You want to see people taking legal action against an oppressive and tyrannical state, because that's the option we have, and hopefully it'll work. Residents were deprived of access to fresh air, exercise, and occupational activities, it is claimed. They were exposed to health risks as communal areas were not disinfected and PPE was not provided despite the presence of COVID-19 in the towers, it is alleged. Government workers left bins overflowing, and some residents lost their jobs after being unable to work during the lockdown, it is claimed. The claim alleges they were not consulted about the lockdown, which banned them from leaving their homes without approval. There you go. This is Australia, everyone. This is Victoria. The government coming in and forcing you to stay in your towers. We all saw the footage from China, didn't we? Sometime on the 4th of July 2020, prior to 3:30 p.m, Victorian Police decided to deploy hundreds of Victorian police officers to the estate towers to enforce the detention of the residents of those towers, the claim states. It alleges Ms. van Diemen had 15 minutes to review, sign, and consider the human rights implications of the lockdown before a press conference scheduled for 4 p.m. on July 4th. It claims she felt constrained to approve the directions and considered that she could not delay signing before the press conference, which she appeared in alongside Premier Daniel Andrews. Well, there you go. I mean, this is the problem. It's the bureaucrats in many ways that are running this. She felt constrained. Doesn't sound like a leader, does it? How did she get to that position? She allowed the decision of third parties or their actions and attitudes to control the way she exercised her discretion, the claim alleges. Oh, I bet that's what happened. The lockdown was not explained at the time to the residents of the towers, according to the claim. The decision not to inform the residents of these matters was not governed by questions of practicality, but was a deliberate decision made to ensure that the residents did not go elsewhere, it alleges. Intimidating conduct by Victorian police officers also began triggering pre-existing trauma in some residents, the claim alleges. Yeah, of course. If you're here and all of a sudden police rock up and you can't even go inside, go outside, leave your building, there you go, everyone. Public housing. The state owns you. You live in their house, you belong to them. Intimidating conduct by Victorian police. Yeah, I've already read that. The lead plaintiff, Mr. Hassan, is a Somalian refugee who arrived in Australia after fleeing civil war. He fled his village in 1990 when it was targeted by soldiers and made his way to Australia with his 6 siblings, making it to Australia in 1998. At the time of the lockdown, he lived in the public housing tower in Sutton Street, North Melbourne, with his wife and 3 children, 9, 7 and 4. About an hour after the lockdown began, Mr. Hussain asked a police officer for permission to buy groceries and medical supplies and was refused, it is alleged. No food deliveries were made to him for several days, and authorities refused the Australian Muslim Social Services Agency permission to deliver culturally appropriate food supplies to the residents, it is alleged. He ran out of asthma medication, and despite calling a hotline number played on television, was not delivered medication in time and suffered asthma attacks, the claim alleges. The medication was supplied on July 8, 4 days after they were locked inside the tower, the claim says. See, this is the thing. Everyone has to be a prepper, guys, to some extent. This is the lesson we all need to take from this. You may laugh at the preppers who have got all the diesel and the power generation and the setup. They're extreme. But you've got to at least have a little bit of extra medical supplies. You want to keep a running stock. I know why we don't. Food supply was not halal, a requirement of their Muslim faith, and Somali interpreters were not engaged to explain why they had to go get COVID-19 testing, it is alleged. Residents were tested for COVID-19 without giving their full, free and informed consent, or the alternative under duress, the claim alleges. The class action is being run by solicitors Surin Tafa of law firm Advocate Me, and will be heard in the Supreme Court at a date to be set. So there we have it, everyone. Residents of these public tenancy housings are taking these people to court, which is good. This should happen. This should be encouraged. This is how we should, in our current democratic system, with our legal processes, should deal with tyranny, because the alternatives are much worse. Let's wait and see the outcome of this. What do you all think, everyone? You've got to feel sorry for the people there. Just, all of a sudden, boom, you're locked down. Your freedoms are restricted. And it just got worse for Victoria. And yet, Andrews is more popular than ever. As always, thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and enjoy the content I create here, there are a few ways you can support us. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links from Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or AussieBroadband. You can buy merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.